Hi, I'm on Holiers, which is a great time to be reading books, particularly the crime books that I have just put down. I'm also being murdered by horseflies, which is very thematically sort of appropriate of them. So if I do any rude words, please forgive me. The novels, or crime novels I'm going to look at today are, interestingly, two of them are island-based, and the third one definitely not. We have got the first one up, The Fury by Alex Michaelides from Macmillan. Now, you've probably read, or if you have read, The Silent Patient, twisty psychological thriller, and The Maidens, with he likes his nod to Greek mythology, not surprisingly. The third one, The Fury, is, again, reminiscent, I think, of The Silent Patient in its reliance, if you like, on the what you know, what you think you know, and who's telling the story. Very much vibes from Silent Patient and from, let's say, films like Inception or Shutter Island, where your narrative or your storyline, you think you know what's going on, and then he sort of tugs the rug from under your feet and you kind of come a cropper. Michaelides has a lot of fun with his unreliable narrator. And the unreliable narrator, who is kind of our perspective in The Fury, is one Elliot Chase. And as you go through this first-person perspective, most of it, you understand that some of this is reminiscent, some of this is imagining, some of this is, well, a version, and you're not sure how much you can trust him, which makes already for kind of a very delicious, very fascinating read. The plot is, quite simple, and he's kept a very small cast, which makes it very Agatha Christie-esque, and that's about the only thing that makes me think it's Agatha Christie-esque, in that it's a billionaire, or millionaire, billionaire, I never know the difference anymore, Lana, who is, she's been a film star and has kind of retired, had married a very wealthy person, and they have since died. And now she has a son, late teen, and she has a second husband that she loves very deeply, and she invites another actress friend who's more stage than screen, but there's a lot going on there too, to come away for a short break, because everybody needs to kind of blow the cobwebs off. And she also invites this Elliot Chase because there is a connection. Elliot is a playwright, and it affects what happens in the plot, and also affects how he tells you about the plot. Look, there's a lot of fun had, I think. I can kind of feel Michaelides grinning as he's writing this, because he kind of stages some things and the characters sort of set things up in a certain way. And you're always kind of saying, hang on a minute, what's just happened? And what did he just say? Oh, you mean that wasn't the, whatever. So, I mean, of course, there's a murder. There's a sort of a gloomy groundskeeper, because Lana owns, of course, said island. And there is a trusted housekeeper. And what are the relationships between all these people? Who really likes each other? Who has Lana's best interests at heart? Who's having, are we all what we appear to be? Super, super fun. I highly recommend that one. Next one that also features an island is Tom Hindle's Murder on Lake Garda, which is, yes, I think people have said he very much does the Agatha Christie, has that feel to his novels. His first one, The Fatal Crossing, very much enjoyed, and The Murder Game similarly. So this one, again, we're on an island, and he's done something a little bit more, not contemporary. I know his first one was very much, it was a 1950s art heist one, very clever. This one has there's a wedding ceremony in Castelfiore on Lake Garda. It's kind of a closed event. You only get there by ferry, so you have this sort of locked room scenario. The wedding taking place is between Lawrence Haywood, which is a wealthy, established, I presume they consider themselves sort of upper class family, and on Eva Bianchi, who is an influencer, which has not met with the approval of Lawrence Haywood's mother necessarily. But things being as they are, the wedding is going ahead until, as we are assembled, waiting for everything to happen, blood-curdling scream, blah, 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 who's dead, etc. I'm not going to tell you. You have to read the novel. But we look at this event and then the days that have led up to it and the days after through the eyes of Robin, who is a young, I suppose, would-be journalist who works alongside Toby, who's the other son of the Haywood family, who has not got anybody's approval for his desire to strike out on his own in the catering business. There are other friends, including two childhood, not even childhood, but more like uni friends of Lawrence's, who have got up to things in the past. And then we suddenly realise that everybody has done things in the past that may or may not sort of have provoked people wanting to get revenge, and quite serious revenge in some cases. So we've got thugs coming to the island who are interlopers at the wedding. What are they doing? We have precious, priceless artefacts on the island because it's also got a museum. We've got husband and wives no longer trusting each other. I mean, really, it's the recipe for everything. We have a kind of an influencer, her team of photographer and agent, personal assistant, who, she's fallen out of grace and they're trying to kind of cover the wedding for big magazines and try and reestablish her position in society. So it's really a real sort of melting pot of all sorts of interests. And things do boil over. It's great fun. Read it. The last one that I'm going to do today is Dinuka McKenzie, Australian writer, her third in the Detective Kate Miles series. Her first one was The Torrent and the second was Taken. And if you remember or haven't read Kate Miles, you can pick this one up without having read the first two. I rather like following a detective because she's writing as much about the domestic or the personal as she is writing about the actual crimes, and she's very, very good at it. We become very attached to Kate, and she's, come through a couple of very traumatic prior events, has very young children, and her husband is sort of house husband now. And this is working. It's not just about, though he is trying to find employment as an architect again. In this particular one, the focus is not so much on Kate as on her brother, because he becomes the subject of police interest, if not investigation, because he's come back to Esserton, which is the town and the small community that these books are set in, for the tragic suicide of high school friend. And while they're down and the funeral has taken place, the second, if you like, there were these three, Luke and Ant and this Marcus, were like the three kind of musketeers, kind of did everything together, got up to all sorts of no good together. But the no good, and Mackenzie's very good at this, does involve sort of, recreational drugs, and there, she does tackle serious drug use. She does tackle men womenizing, what's acceptable, domestic violence. A lot of these issues which are very topical and need to be talked about. But she seamlessly kind of weaves this into a ripper plot. So obviously, these two deaths very close together, and Luke's reappearance, fingers are pointed, and Kate has to try and clear him. And of course, being so close, obviously, to a possible perpetrator means, whoops, I touched it, means that she, she can't be on the case. I really like Dinuka's, her thoroughness and the way she will give you this family drama, because there's her father and her father's boyfriend, and how do they look back at their own mother, and how does everybody look at the people who've gone, and how do we carry the traumas, and how if you made a false move or if you got into drugs, how do you get out, and how do you get free? It's everything in that. The human is kind of celebrated in all its warts and all. Sort of presentation. I thought it was terrific, and I'm waiting for more. She does tie up loose ends. I love this, but you also know that she's left room for, well, where can we go next? And Dinuka, I'm waiting for the next one. There you go. That's it. If you enjoyed this, you could like and subscribe. If not, we'll just hang out for the next one. See ya.